This is Jason with Chicago News, and we've got the brand new 2017 Kia Soul Exclaim. This is as red as it gets, and combined with the shape of this Kia Soul, this is the red box that doesn't rent you DVDs. We joke about it being boxy, but we actually really love the style of this Kia Soul. It's always been a unique car since it first came out in 2008. They've really upped the ante and made it a lot more modern looking. They've got some really cool lights. The actual proportions of it are great. We're gonna find out if it's just as fun to drive as it is to look at. In the front, it can actually pass as a standard crossover, but in the back is where it really looks funky. We love the design, this inset panel, and these really cool, unique lights. Just overall, it's fun to look at. The definition of an exclamation point is when someone's shouting or where something is exciting. This car is basically, with this bright red, a rolling exclamation point. Let's get in and see if it lives up to its name. Now, any car that's got an exclamation point in its name, or in this case, is literally just called an exclamation point, it better be fun to drive. So let's see if this lives up. See? I would give that an exclamation point. This 1.6 liter turbo has 201 horsepower, but critically it also has 195 foot-pounds of torque, which is pretty good for that small displacement. And what it means is this thing's really fun to drive. Another thing that adds to the enjoyment of this car is this is actually a 7-speed dual clutch transmission as opposed to an automatic. So lots of real performance features in a car that's really not thought of much as a performance car. What we love about that is it's a throwback to the old days of the hot hatchback. This is, you might call, a hot crossover. So with a car that's this fun to drive and looks that funky on the outside, you would hope the interior is a little bit funky and fun to be in too. And this is really great because it's got the funky touches to match the design on the outside, but then it's got some really great sporty features, like this wheel has great grips for your hands, a flat bottom. It's kind of a really sporty design. You've got contrasting stitching here on the wheel and on the dashboard cover here. There's lots of really nice touches that make this not just a comfortable place to be, but a fun place as well. A lot of cars we drive these days have way too many drive modes where you can change this or that. This has got a drive mode here. It's a button on the steering wheel. Let's press it here, see what happens. Okay, that's sport mode, and that's not. And that's it. You get two choices. Sport or not sport. One of the best features about this new Kia Soul is the infotainment system. It's really one of the best we've used in any car at any price. Really easy to use, 8-inch widescreen display. Using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, this thing will read your text messages to you and allow you to just say your replies. It's totally hands-free, but it's also just very seamless in how you use all of the different functions. Really well done. One of the other funky features that is a holdover from previous Kia Souls are these lighted rings around the speakers and the doors. You can change the color or you can have them dance to the music, and that's been a feature of this Kia Soul to try and set it apart. But the stereo in this is actually a Harman Kardon system. You've got these large woofers in the door, you've got a huge center speaker and these cool speaker pods here. It's just a pretty cool looking audio system. Is it the best high-end stereo we've ever heard? It's not, but combined with the funky speaker lights and the excellent ease of use of this infotainment, it's a really great system overall. These days, with ever-increasing number of devices that we're always carrying with us, you need lots of options to charge them. There's two 12-volt ports as well as a USB here, a USB in the center console and behind it. So on a lot of these USBs are 2-amp outlets to charge your phone much faster. So a lot of great options. You're not going to have a dead device as long as you remember your cord. There's really only two option packages you can get with this Exclaim, and that is the technology package and the panoramic roof. Now the technology package gives you this great center display as well as a number of other features, including blind spot monitoring and forward collision alert. It doesn't have a lot of the active safety features that you can get in some cars these days, but with both of these options, which is everything you can get, this is $27,500, and considering what it does have and how much performance it's got, how fun to drive it is, we think it represents a great value. When you look at this Soul, and especially the rear seat area. It kind of looks like it's not going to have any cargo space, but the fact that it's really a box, that rear section contains a lot more space than you'd think. This actually could really replace your SUV for your daily use. This thing's got a ton of power, so we've been having a lot of fun with it. We're still averaging around 26 miles per gallon, which is pretty impressive considering the turbocharged engine. One great feature that, especially in Chicago winter, you don't want to live without is heated seats. But this not only has heated front seats, it's got heated rear seats, which again is something that's reserved usually for much more expensive vehicles. One of the things we didn't like quite as much are these seats. They lack a little bit in support, and it's one of the few places where you can feel maybe the budget aspect of this car. Okay, so I was wondering if this box-shaped car was going to be able to handle some corners, and we've had a chance to try it now, and it handles really great. This is a really fun car to drive. Now I'm 6'3", and there's a lot of cars that I just don't fit that well in. Even though this is a small car, I've got a ton of headroom here, even with this great panoramic roof. But one of the other features of this box shape is that the rear seat has just as much headroom as the front. And with a lot of the sloping designs these days, that's just not the case. The Kia Soul starts at $16,000. So it's a really great entry-level car for first-time buyers. But also, if you want the space of an SUV, but you don't want to pay the price of an SUV, this is a great way to do that and to have fun at the same time. So what do we think of this Kia Soul Exclaim? Well, the funny name aside, this thing is fun, fast, affordable, and funky. And that's a combination we find hard to resist.